Okay, hi everyone, good evening. Thank you for joining us for our second exclusive group webinar. Um, I'm here tonight with April Smith. I'm so excited. She's presenting to us tonight on blogging and how to be a blog rock star. And who's more appropriate to do this topic than her, right? So let's give her a round of applause. So feel free to use the chat feature over in your dashboard to post some questions. Hopefully April will have time at the end to take your questions. If for some reason the chat feature is not working, I would like you guys to go please to the Google group, put your questions in the event, and I'll run over there and I'll copy and paste the questions and send them over to April somehow. But we'll get that all worked out. One thing before we do get started is a disclaimer. Please, no personal recording of the webinar and for your own use. And please, any information you receive tonight in the webinar is for your use only. And I would really love it if you please do not ever use the information for your own use, meaning like a presentation, a video, or passing it off as your own. Okay, because April worked really hard for us tonight, and I can't wait to hear what she has to say. So April, I'm going to turn it over to you. I'm going to change presenters, so you won't see me again to the end. So enjoy, everyone.
All right. Thank you, Danielle. I'm so excited to be here. Thank you guys all for coming. I'm really surprised that there's anyone here. I feel like even though I've been blogging a while that I'm still really new and learning things, so I'm really honored to be here. I'm going to bring up the presentation. Like Danielle said, if you have questions, put them in the chat box, and at the end I'll try to answer all of them. Danielle, I think you still have power I need for the presentation. All right, there we go. All right, so be a blog rock star. Again, I'm really excited you guys are here. Thanks for your patience. This is the first time I've used it, and Danielle was really great showing me how to get on, so I'm really excited to try it out. This is what we're going to learn. We're going to talk mostly about what makes a great post, finding your niche, and then pages that you're going to need on your blog and how to bring engagement to your blog. But we're going to kind of start with a few things about why you should blog and when you should blog, because I know I've had a lot of people ask me how often you should blog and is it even worth it. A little bit about me. I taught for 8 years. I was in a school with 0 resources, so some of you may be familiar with that situation. I started consistently blogging in 2010 just to share some of the things I was doing in my own classroom. In 2016, I left the classroom to blog and make resources full-time, and I had my twins in June, and so I'm staying home with them. And I have been technically blogging since I was 11, almost 12, first when AOL was around, which makes me feel really old. So I feel like I've been doing it a long time, but it constantly changes. So I'm still learning a lot of things, and hopefully you will find some new things in this presentation. At least take home at least a couple things. Why blog? 40% of my TPT store social media traffic comes from my blog. So what that means is when you're looking at Pinterest, Facebook, Instagram, and my blog, 40% of that comes from it. And that's also a lot of the Pinterest images I use are images I also use in my blog, so it's probably technically more. I think that teachers recognize and trust my brand from my blog posts, so I have a lot of teachers that contact me and they're asking me, they read my blog and they want to know more about like my niche, which is project-based learning. So they contact me and I'm able to provide them links to my resources. So I'm also selling from my blog in that sense. It also allows me to show how my products work and tell people why they should buy them without being super spammy. When to blog? This is kind of a question I've been asking myself since I started blogging. There is no correct answer except that you need to be consistent. So if you decide you want to blog once a month, that's great, but be consistent about it. My goal is to blog twice a week, just because I've noticed that a lot of the blogs that do very, very well blog twice a week. And I try to be consistent. It doesn't always happen. I'm sure many of you struggle with kind of juggling teaching and kids and everything else. So it is really hard to be consistent. But when you are consistent, you're getting more content out there, and you're also having people know that something's coming. Days and times that are best to post. This is kind of something where people disagree on it as well. I find that the best time to post on my blog would be the same time I would post on my Facebook. So if you're looking at your Facebook stats and you see there's a time where a lot of people are online, then that would probably be the best time to post to your blog. However, if you keep marketing your post and you keep putting it out there, really any time is fine, because you're going to be reusing this content. Okay, so something that Danielle said she really wanted me to talk about was finding your niche in your blog. So there's a lot of blogs out there, and sometimes, I don't know, I still feel like this, but sometimes we kind of get lost in all the blogs, and it seems like some of them are all the same. So it's really important to find a niche. So this is our game, which is Name That Niche. So take a look at the logos and see if you can name the niche that each one of these sellers or blogs has. So I'm going to give you a second just to kind of think about it. Okay, so Danielle's blog, Study All Night. We know that her niche is digital or interactive resources. That's why you guys are in a group. She is very good at that, and people know her for that. Because she has a niche, when somebody asks about digital resources in a group, people are often posting links to her blog. So there's a real benefit in that. Brown Bag Teacher, her niche is hands-on in centers, and she does a lot of videos and pictures of really creative things on her Facebook and her blog. So you can usually recognize an activity that she does. Clutter-Free Classroom. Her niche is organization or decor for your classroom. It's right in there in her name, and pretty much if you visit her blog, you know you're going to find information on decorations. And mine, Performing Education, PBL, Project-Based Learning, is my niche. That's what about 50% of my blog posts are about. I do kind of veer off track a little bit when I want to talk about something different, but that's okay. But I think that my blog is pretty well known for project-based learning. So if you have a blog that has a lot of different posts on it, you've got classroom management, you've got writing, you've got reading, you've got kind of everything under the sun, that's totally fine. It's good to have lots of different content. But you do need to look at what is your niche, what are you best at? What do you do most in your classroom? What are you really passionate about? Because that will set you apart on your blog. So you want to make sure that you are an expert at your niche. Continue to research it. Share about it on social media. You want your name to be out there anytime anybody is talking about that niche. So with my niche being project-based learning, pretty much everything I put on Twitter is project-based learning, project-based learning, project-based learning, hashtag PBL, things like that, because I want people to know that if they have questions about project-based learning, they want to come to my blog. And subsequently, I also have resources that match that niche, so that means that people are going to come to my blog for that information and hopefully go to my store and purchase something. Talk to people about it. A lot of people have a niche and they have a private Facebook group, and so that allows them to directly connect with teachers about their niche. Create lots of resources for it, also create lots of blog posts about it. and create a free resource for it. It could be to join your newsletter, or you could just send them straight to your TPT store. But once you have a niche, it's really nice because you know that most people visiting your blog are looking for information on that topic. And so if you're giving them a free resource that gets them to sign up for your newsletter or gets them to come to your store, you know that people are going to take advantage of that because they're coming to your blog for that specific topic, and that resource will be very helpful for them. And then the last thing is really important. Write a blog post series about it, or 2 series, or 3 series, or more. Once you are really in that niche market, you probably won't find a lot of information about your topic out there. So the more series you write about it, the more your content is going to be flooded. So if somebody Googles it or somebody looks it up on Pinterest, you're going to come up over and over again for lots of different posts related to that topic. Okay, so if you don't have any other takeaways other than this, that would make me really happy because post series are so amazing. What I want you guys to do is tonight or tomorrow, make a mind map like this, put your niche or a topic from your niche in the middle, and come up with all the different little small topics that you could write about for your niche. I don't know if anybody's going to be writing about poodle ownership. If you are, it's there. But this is a great example of how many posts you can get from just one topic. This person obviously has their niche related to animals, possibly poodles. And so basically they're going to have a ton of posts people can find on social media or when they search it that are related to this topic. Also, social sharing is so cool. This allows for people to share from the subtopic. You always want to have on your blog some sort of social sharing button so that they can share to Twitter, Facebook, etc. And lots of good images too to share as well. And then post series are great because it gives consistency. They know they can expect more blog posts about this topic, so they're more likely to be engaged, which is what you want, because I think statistics have shown that most people that visit a blog don't come back to it because people are mostly using Pinterest and they're specifically just going to one post and they're not really following blogs anymore as much as they used to be. So you want to have that engagement. You want to have a blog where people come back and check for new things because they want new information about your niche. Okay, a little more information on your post series. So once you have that mind map done, I just want to show you how you can plan out and schedule a post series. So before you write any of the posts, make sure that you brainstorm your topic using the mind map and make sure you plan out the dates and the subtopics for each post. So I'm going to use Disneyland on a Budget as an example. I visited a blog the other day because I was looking for information on Disneyland for the conference, and I wanted to know how to afford it with 4 of us. And so I noticed that there were 2 blogs that just kept popping up over and over again. Every time I searched for anything, Disneyland food, Disneyland rides for kids of a certain age, they kind of had a monopoly of this niche. So they had a lot of blog series. So if your series topic is Disneyland on a budget, map it out. This has it as a weekly post. The first post would be an introduction. I like to, when I do a post series, to link to every other post. That way people can come to this one post and have all the different posts in the series on it. And then I'll also link from post to post. So like we just did transportation, here's the next post on lodging. And then when I make a new post, I'll go back and add that link. So the first post you can do is an introduction, just telling people that you are going to have a series about Disneyland. You could put some personal photos, just do a little narrative, get them really into it, kind of introduce them to you and your niche. The next topic that I picked was transportation, and I have kind of here what I want to focus on, which is cheap plane tickets and transportation from the airport. And from that, I can kind of jot down some notes to see what I want to talk about specifically. The next week would be lodging. and then food. And these seem like it could all be in one post, but in reality, there's so much information that these could be many different posts, so hence the post series. And then my last ones are tickets and other experiences. So if you guys can see, I have from February 3rd all the way to March 10th done just off of one series. So this is really powerful because not only does it keep you motivated because you know what you're going to write about next and you've already got it pre-planned and you just got to get in there and write it, but people are going to come back to get more information. And then in the future, once these are all live and all linked to each other, once they Google search and they find just one post, they're going to find all the other posts because they're going to click links within your blog to go to the other posts. And the more clicks that they have on your blog, the more likely they are to go to your TPT store if you have products in the sidebar, if you have a pop-up sending them. So you're more likely to be able to sell something to them. And they're also kind of more trusting of you and what you know about your niche. So this is really important. And then the last thing, link your post to your first post, add the individual links for every individual post, and then market, market, market. We're going to talk a little bit more about that later, but you want to make sure that you are constantly getting your blog posts out there. Google will pick up your blog posts if you do optimize it, if you do SEO, but Pinterest is such a big thing, and I feel like it's even more powerful than search. So you want to make sure you get it out there, get it out to Facebook, get it out to Instagram, and continually do that. Okay, so we're kind of going to change gears to talk about what makes a great post. I don't know how many of you spend a lot of time perusing other people's blogs. I do, especially, usually not on the teaching topics as much anymore, but baby stuff and things like that. And sometimes I click on a really great image on Pinterest and it brings me to this post and I'm just so disappointed. So I really want to talk to you guys about what makes a great post and what's going to keep people at your blog, because if they come to your blog and they stay, like I said, you're more likely to sell something to them or get them engaged on your social media. First of all, narrative. You want somebody who's friendly and nice. You want to make sure you include links so that they can email you and ask you questions. I always get emails of people who are so sweet. And they just have like a little question about usually project-based learning or sometimes brag tags or one of the things that I've posted about. I have made so many more sales and so many more, gotten so many more people on my social media because I am friendly and I have a narrative where it's very personalized. It's not like a company running the post. It's a person and they feel like they know me. Some things that you're going to see in a post that are also good for search engine optimization, but also just good for readability, is you want to have subtitles and you want to have bullet points. And you want to make sure that you have a lot of information within these subtitles and bullet points. Don't just put a sentence. Teachers want details. I know that sometimes we are really pressed for time and we don't have a time to read a long blog post, but really if you're going to a blog to find out how to manage your classroom during project-based learning, you're going to want every nitty-gritty detail. You're going to want everything. So make sure that you give them lots of information, lots of free information. You'll see under mine there's some orange text. Those are links. You always want to link within your post to other posts on your blog, to your store. I mostly, like 95% of my links are to myself because I love myself and I want them to stay here with me or go to my store. Sometimes I do link to outside places. I do have some affiliate links, but really, like, I want them to stay within my blog and read more and then eventually go to my store. Teaching to Inspire in 5th, she has some awesome blog posts. She does a lot of bullet points. These are great. Google pulls up bullet points as a plus for your blog, so people are going to see it, and also it's just a lot easier to read. And large, clear images, maybe even videos within the post. Images are the most important thing. I don't know how many of you are on Pinterest pretty often. I'm sure most of you. But those are all images. And the more clear images you have in your post, the more likely somebody is going to be to save it to Pinterest, and then the more likely it is to get shared on Pinterest, so the more traffic you're going to get. And then, of course, you want images for all social media. I personally am on WordPress, so it is more customizable, so I can set things up so that I can set up exactly what I want to go to Facebook and Pinterest and so forth. But if you're on Blogger or another website, you can still have all those images available in your post so that when they're shared with the proper size images. Okay, static pages you need. A lot of people don't spend a lot of time on static pages. I think that it's kind of old-fashioned, but they've changed in a way that you can really utilize them to sell. First of all, About Me page, that's classic. You should always have an About Me page. This is Kinder Craze. She also has crazytogether.com, which I probably go and visit once a week. I'm on her email list. It's one of the only email lists where I actually open it because I feel like I know her, and I just feel this personal connection. So that About Me page is so important. Put lots of details, lots of information, and then you can see within her About Me page she has lots of links to stuff, her links to her store, links to posts about what she's talking about. So again, use that About Me page to send people to other places in your blog or to sell. I have a niche landing page, and this is basically where I send. So if I do my blog post series about project-based learning, I have one like on classroom management, I have one about differentiation, I have one about planning. Well, within those pages, I link like crazy to this landing page. And it's just a regular page. You can do it on Blogger, you can do it on WordPress. It's just a regular page. But this has all my information about my niche, which is project-based learning. It tells you what it is. You can tell from that awful screenshot that it has a video. And I also have the video. You'll see I'm holding up planning elements. That's my freebie that I use to get people to join my newsletter, which, don't stress out, you don't necessarily need to go and start a newsletter, but you can use your freebie to send people to your store. But this kind of gets all the people who are reading my project-based learning blog post to this one spot, and then this shows them the video and offers them my free product, which gets them engaged in my store, in my newsletter. So I think this is really important. And you can't see the bottom of this, but if you go to my website and you click on project-based learning on the top, you'll see that it's this landing page, and on the bottom I also have products listed too. So there's always a sell in there. It's just, I'm very, very helpful, very nice, helpful. Here's something you can buy, the soft sell. So I think that the niche landing page is a very helpful thing to set up, and then keep linking to it from everything, from every account you have, link to it. This is your niche. This is what you're an expert at, and here's all the information about it. Okay, so hopefully you're thinking about a post series that you want to write for your blog. You're either scheduling it weekly, bi-weekly, or monthly. That's fine too. So the big thing is engagement. After your post goes live, you have a lot of work to do. I know sometimes we hit that post button and we're like, oh, thank goodness, I'm glad it's over with. But you have to keep marketing it over and over and over again. Here's some things that I do. I actually have a little calendar and a checklist where after I post, I have to do all of these things. Of course, I add it to Pinterest board. I have one specifically for my blog post. That's great because if people come to my Pinterest account, they can go to that category, see all my blog posts. But mostly I use that for sharing using like Tailwind Tribes or just sharing on a daily basis because that's where I keep all of my blog posts. That way I don't have to share from my blog every single time. Send a quick message to your TPT followers or your newsletter followers. I just saw a thread on this about the whole TPT followers and sending a message, and a lot of people are kind of negative about it because sellers don't necessarily open them, but I get such a good open rate on my message to TPT followers. people really want them to allow you to communicate every day, but I almost don't want that because I feel like people aren't utilizing it. So this is my little secret. Send that message every month. Obviously, you can't send it with every post if you're posting weekly, but I would wait and send at the end of at the end of your post series so you can share all of them. And then I also include related products on there. So it's kind of getting people to the blog and also to my products, and then from my blog back to my products too. So I use MailChimp for my newsletter. I just copy and paste that to my TPT followers. I have done surveys before, I've done giveaways before, and I get really good engagement from both the newsletter and the message to followers. So definitely use that. Of course, post it to social media. Use the correct image sizes. I don't have those listed here because I know some people have a preference. Some people like long pins, and so some people like the shorter ones. But if you're not sure about image sizes, just Google social media image sizes, and you'll get some examples, and you can just kind of pick those sizes and just make sure that you are always providing all of those and using it to schedule it to social media. I use Canva. I don't know how many of you use that, but it's a really easy way to make images. They even have stock photos. But if you have the paid version, it also has like a one-click resize, which allows you, if let's say you make a Facebook graphic, it allows you to resize to Pinterest and Instagram. It's not perfect, you kind of have to mess with it, but it saves me a lot of time. Also, share with your friends. If you are on Tailwind tribes, mastermind groups, groups with teachers, don't be spammy about it, but if you have really good content, just put it out there and say, hey, I made this really great post series about project-based learning or classroom management. So if you guys can share it, I'd really appreciate that. Mastermind groups are great, or even just a friend you have that also has a blog that's trying to get their stuff out there. And it's if it's good content, it's not spammy. Keep reposting it on social media. This is constant. You want to repost. You don't want to have a blog post and then just post it the day it goes live. You want to constantly share it on Facebook and Twitter. You constantly want to schedule it on Pinterest. You've worked so hard on this post, you want it to be there, and you want to keep getting it out there. So I use SmarterQueue. I put this in here because a lot of people were really excited about it when I mentioned it a couple weeks ago in one of my Facebook groups. But this is a queue program where you can add your whole blog, every blog post with just one click, and then you can add new posts with one quick click, and it'll keep recycling content, and that way it'll post to your Facebook without you even touching it. So I have like 70 some blog posts that I have on there. I have some blog posts I'm not super proud about, so I don't put them in the rotation. I'm sure you guys are familiar with that. But my favorites are in that rotation, and they get posted every about 60 days. And then I also add memes and stuff to there too, but that just makes sure that it's constantly out there. The blog post is out there. They're all evergreen blog posts, which means they're relevant any time of the year, so I don't have to really worry about it. Like we talked about, linking from posts to other posts. If you are writing a new post about classroom management and you did a whole series on brag tags, which is classroom management, you can link back to that series or that post. So always put lots of links in your posts. Also, you can guest post, and that can get more traffic to your blog. This is kind of a plug for me because I do take guest bloggers, and I have them every Tuesday. So if you're interested in guest blogging, that's the link right there. It's pretty easy, performingeducation.com/guest-bloggers. I've heard you guys are all like amazing, dedicated people. So if you want to visit that link, it tells you a little bit of information about it. I would really love to have you guys guest post. You can also practice some of the skills you've learned. You can also link back to your new blog post series once you've finished it. So really, once you've finished the post, your work is not over. You need to keep marketing it, keep putting it out there, pretend like it's the newest, greatest thing, even if you wrote it 3 months ago. Okay, so it seemed like a lot of you were we're pretty familiar with how to send traffic to your store from your blog. So what I wanted to touch on a few things. I'm not sure what you're utilizing for that. So my question really is, how many ways do you send traffic from your blog to your store? There are so many ways. I feel like I'm constantly going back and forth as to which is the best, but I try to at least throw it in at least 3 different ways. Landing pages. I have seen a bunch of really great landing pages pop up. This is just a page on your blog that has information about a product line. And it isn't like, oh, here's just pictures of the product, buy it. It's actual detailed explanation of here's what is included, here's what standards are covered, here's a step-by-step with photos of what you do during this, with this product. It's kind of like professional development, when somebody comes to your school and they hand you like kind of a packet and it's got some student organizers, and then they give you an hour of professional development telling you how to use it. Use a landing page on your blog for this, because people are going to come and read it and think, oh my gosh, that's such a great idea. And then they can go to your store and have everything pre-made. So not only have you taught them how to use it and what standards go with it and all of that great stuff, but now you're giving them the exact content that they need to implement in their classroom for $4 or $6 or whatever. I've seen people do landing pages for a product line that is $200. And I personally cannot even imagine spending $200 on something for my classroom that's a printable. But I've gone to their landing pages, it's not even my subject, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I need this. Because it is so detailed, so many pictures, it's got bullet points with standards, bullet points of the steps in the process, and it's just amazing. So definitely have those. You can have them as blog posts too. I just like having them as pages specifically because of how I do it with SEO, and also how I link to it. I just like how it looks when I link to it. So I think that is an excellent idea, especially if you have a resource that goes with your niche and you have all these blog posts about your niche. Having a landing page for that product to directly sell it is amazing. That's the best way to use your blog. The next one is pop-ups. These are a little controversial. I know recently they've been talking about how Google is penalizing you for pop-ups. However, think about where your traffic comes from. If you look at your dashboard and your traffic is like 1% is coming from Google and 99% is coming from Pinterest, Pinterest does not penalize you for pop-ups, so use them. I personally have that situation where most of my traffic comes from Pinterest. It's about 10% comes from search, and so I use these pop-ups like crazy. Always make sure that it works on desktop, on an iPad, and an iPhone. Those are always my 3 go-to, because I have used even those fancy ones that you pay for, like I've used MailMunch before, and then I've gone onto my phone and I can't even get to the X mark to get off to my blog. You don't want people to get frustrated, so you need to make sure they're clean pop-ups and that they work on all the devices. My favorite is Hello Bar. Don't want to try to sell you on them, but I do have they do have a free version, but I have the paid version. I don't remember how much it is, like $10 to $12 a month, but it allows me to send out a pop-up based off of what my visitors are doing. So I could say, hey, if somebody has visited 2 pages in the last month about project-based learning that has that tag in the page, and I want a pop-up to go to them that shows my big $40 project-based learning bundle, so that they can click on that to my store. I don't want to have that pop up for everybody, because I don't want you to come to my store and be like, bam, here's a $40 bundle of something you're not even sure you need. But if they've read a bunch of blog posts about project-based learning, I know they're interested, and this is more of, hey, save some time. Click on this pop-up, it'll take you, you can download this and use it in your classroom. And you don't need to search any more project-based learning posts, because it's all done for you. So you can kind of utilize pop-ups very, very much more specifically now than you used to, and they're not as spammy when you tailor them to your audience. Just decide how you want to use your pop-ups. Decide where do you want to send them. Do you want to send to Facebook to get more followers? Do you want them to sign for a newsletter? I have a pop-up for that too. again, based off their behavior on my site, but I really prefer to send them straight to my store. And I have like a 10% conversion, which I feel like is really good. I think that's because I am directly targeting people based off of what they're viewing on my site. So 10% means 10% of people who come to my site who get that pop-up are clicking on it, going to my store, and then it's really hard to tell if that's what the purchases are for, because the dashboard isn't very specific with the statistics. But I personally know if 10% of my visitors are going there, my conversion rate on most of my products are between 5 and 10%. So I'm really, I'm getting at least 5 or 6 sales a day at the absolute minimum of my big bundle. So it's worth it. Now the last one, I think you guys probably do this very well if you're already blogging. This is the in-post soft sell. Not only, and this doesn't mean you have to like make a post specifically for your product every time. Just if you're writing a blog post about classroom management and you mention brag tags as a way for positive classroom management, link the word brag tags, send them to something in your store. It's not spammy because you're not including a bunch of product photos saying buy, 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 but you're giving them really good information about classroom management, but you're also linking to your store. This is just a little more detailed information about those 3 to the landing page. This is where you direct sell or give your freebie, kind of a combination of both. And then here's kind of a look at my Hello Bar pop-up. The one on the left, are you interested in project-based learning? This comes up to people just in general who just came to my site. If they say yes, it gives them a link to my store. If they say no, it gives them a link to my store. I just approach it in a different way. That's kind of a cool feature that they do. But I get a huge conversion off this because people are like, oh, yeah, I've never thought about that before. Thanks for asking me. On the right, this is when people are clicking on posts that necessarily aren't related to my niche, and they'll get this that says, hey, I have low prep resources and shop. And this one's like an 8% conversion too, so they're pretty good. And then I put my picture up there. I hate seeing myself, hate hearing myself, but I think that helps conversions because people are more trusting, and that's kind of back to what I said about the About Me page. People know you, and like they just, oh, she looks so friendly, so her resources must be good. And of course, this is an example. These are some great examples of in-post soft sell. These are from 2 really amazing sellers who do really well and get a lot of traffic from their blog to their store. And they're consistently on that list that TPT puts out of top traffic referrals. On the left is One Stop Teacher Shop. There she has her bullet points, which tell exactly how you would use the homework system. And she's got a picture there, pretty standard. On the right side is Clutter-Free Classroom. She has some great pictures of all the papers that come with it, and she is like the master of linking. If you visit her blog, you will see she must have like 20 links in one paragraph. She's really good at that, but that's keeping people within her blog and also sending them to her store. So definitely check out those 2 blogs and take a look at what they do as far as like pictures and then formatting the post, because they're always really good at being very detailed and also selling you on something without you kind of knowing that they're selling you. It's not spammy at all. All right, I feel like that was so much information. I'm sorry, I tried to rush through as fast as possible so that we'd have as much time for questions as possible. And I'm sorry if you guys are hearing a little background noise. My twins are actually like at the other end of the house, but they're super loud. So let's see, let me bring my webcam back. All right. All right. So I don't see any questions on there.
Okay, I actually have April. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Can you see me or no?
Yes, I can see you.
So I have questions for you. I'm going to read some of them. We used the questions panel. That's what it's seeing. I think the chat feature is for you and I to communicate, I believe, and then the questions panel, I was able to get them from the audience. So here are a
Oh,
few.
okay.
Okay, so let's see. How about showing products in action without showing students? What do you think of that on your blog? Like, do you find those are the kind of images we should be looking for?
Yes. It's kind of, I don't know, some people are okay with showing students. I think as long as you're in the classroom and it's not your school, that it's probably not a good idea to show your students. I have just like a poster board, and I take pictures on that. That's as simple as it is. You can pose somebody if you have like a neighbor kid or if you have kids the right age, you can pose them and make it look like the classroom. But
Oh,
honestly,
interesting.
I don't think teachers care. I don't think they need to see it in your classroom, and I think they understand that we're not supposed to put stuff from our classrooms on our blogs. So I think it's okay. And it's a lot easier to get better lit photos at home when you have time than in your classroom anyway. That's just
Um,
my opinion. I think that there's some people might disagree, but I personally don't take any. When I was teaching, didn't take any.
2 years ago at the TPT conference in Vegas, I went to is it Mel Lloyd's Pinterest session, and she talked about how she purchased a student's desk, and she set up a bulletin board, I believe, behind it in her basement to stage pictures. So I haven't gone that far yet, but I've been trying to create images that make it look like a student desk, like
Yeah,
but.
I got a desk on Amazon for like
Oh,
$50. And honestly, I found the white poster board to be better because I'm having a hard time getting pictures on the desk because I feel like people can see the background is my house and not a classroom. But there are some people that are really awesome at making it look like the classroom. Like Shelly Reese, she has a whole bulletin board in her house, and so all of her pictures look like they're in a classroom. So if you're willing to
okay.
commit to that and set it up, that's awesome.
People will be
I
like,
just
"Oh,
already
what's over there? Oh, that's my classroom corner." Yeah, that's funny. Okay, so
yeah,
that
if I had extra room, if I didn't have kids, then I would totally have a whole room dedicated to that. Um,
um,
but
that question.
it's
So that question came from Kim Patrick. She's the OC Beach teacher. Okay, so then we have let's see. Oh, here's a really great question from Ashley. Did you start out on Blogger and then switch to WordPress? If so, why?
Yeah, this is interesting. I actually started on WordPress, but forever ago. Like, I don't even think that blog exists still. It was like I went straight from AOL to WordPress when it was first in the final and the first beginning stages of like beta or something, but it was WordPress.com. It wasn't self-hosted. And then I had Blogger, and then I had WordPress self-hosted. So I did technically for this blog start on Blogger and then move to WordPress.
Did you do it yourself?
Yes,
Yeah.
but it's not for the faint of heart.
Wait, tell everybody again when you started blogging.
I was almost 12, and I'm 30 now, so a while ago. And I had
That's
a
great.
newsletter. It was called a web zine, and it was fashion and teen related. Super dorky. I'm much more proud of
No,
what I
I'm sure
post
it wasn't
about
dorky.
now.
Yeah, that's cute. All right, no, you know what I mean. That's awesome. Okay, let's see. Amy Mesney says, "What specifically belongs on a niche landing page?"
Oh, hey, Amy. All right. Yeah. So niche landing page can have a whole variety of things, but basically you want to have everything that you have for that niche, every blog post that you have for it, every video you have for it, every image, every resource, just get it all down there. But on the top, you want to put a little bit, like a little introduction about the niche and what people need to know about it. And then I would offer a freebie next. So mine is introduction, and then it's video that includes the freebie, and then it's the freebie. And then all of the other stuff goes at the bottom in case people want more information. But I use
So
that
you,
top reel.
how do you what are you using to embed your video? You use YouTube?
Um, I'm using Vimeo mostly. I
Okay,
have done
Vimeo.
YouTube before. Yeah, Vimeo, you can only upload a certain amount before you have to pay, but I find that it's so much easier to upload to, and it just runs faster on my blog and it looks cleaner.
Interesting.
But yeah, that's mostly what I do, and I use that video on Facebook too. So I multi-purpose a lot of things.
Okay. That's a it's a really okay. So the landing page is everything.
Yeah,
I'm gonna,
everything, but
I
use
gotta
that
work on
top
that.
yeah, use that top real estate though for what you want people to do. Like I want people to sign up for my newsletter and get their free project-based learning planning guide, which has a ton of my products linked in it. So that's what I use the top for, the video about it and the download.
Okay.
So definitely remember on the top for that you want whatever is most important to you because a lot of people won't scroll all the way down to the end.
Um, it's a great point. Okay. Smarter Q. One more time. Can you just recap for us? Let's see. Janice says it sounds like an awesome strategy for creating a post series, April. And Smarter Q sounds great. Can you tell us anything more about Smarter Q?
Yeah, it's if you guys have heard of Meet Edgar before, it's pretty much the same thing, except I feel like they have better features on this one. They just came out of beta, so they've kind of gone above and beyond what Meet Edgar has, and it's also cheaper. It's about $20 a month. So basically, what it is there's a lot of ways you can load content, but whatever you load, it's kind of like Tailwind where it's preloaded in there, except that it recycles content. And if Tailwind did that, that would be fantastic. But SmarterQ does it for
Mm,
Facebook and for Twitter.
okay.
So you can just, I don't touch my Facebook anymore. All I do is when I finish a blog post, I just add it to the queue and it runs continuously. And it's based off of a schedule. Like my blog posts are like 4
Right.
p.m. every day is my blog post and like
Yeah, I'm almost done. Hold on. I'm so sorry. My sons have to always make an appearance.
we all have loud kids today. I don't know what it is.
No, I'm just saying "oh" loud, everybody. All right, go over there. Oh my God, I'm so. All right. Those of you that have been with me long enough have known me personally. It's nothing anyone's shocked over. Okay, so.
No,
All right.
I like to have
Okay.
and how
Uh,
unpredictable.
Oh, okay. Taylor Lang said, "What would love specific suggestions on landing pages for product lines to check out." Can you just give a shout out to a few of your favorites again?
My absolute favorite is
Yeah.
maneuvering in the middle.
Okay.
She, she has it's right on the top of hers. She has like a hello bar on the top that says, "Here are my resources." Chris Kessler does it, I believe. He has a lot of his big bundles, and these two both sell like $200 products, and they sell them. So I
Oh
think the
yes.
landing
Right.
are a big part of that. But yeah, maneuver in the middle. Check out hers. It's right on the top. You can click to it, but it's intense. You can tell she spent a lot of time on it
Okay.
because you did. It's got yeah, and it's got all the bullet points and all the awesome stuff in it. So
Um.
yeah, check that out. And then Chris Kessler, I'm pretty sure does it as well. I see
Okay.
a lot of them. I don't register them because I
All right.
want to, but
Okay.
those two definitely, those are big product lines too.
Okay. So, okay, this is a more technical question. I don't even know how to answer this one. I don't think I do.
Uh-oh.
Okay. So this is from Erin Flanagan. Uh, do you have a do you have your blog pages indexed?
Yes.
Okay. And then Erin says, "Is that why?" Now, I don't know what this is referring to. Let's see. What would she be asking about? Let's see. I don't, okay, so we'll come back to that. I'll find out more what she's talking about. Oh, and then what is the pop-up that you use? Janice wants you to tell us again.
I use Hello Bar. Mail Munch is
Okay.
also popular, but I've had issues where it's on mobile. It's not as good. It blocks kind of the window. But Hello Bar has I've been very successful with, and then it has if you sign up for the paid version, then you can directly target people based off of their behavior on your blog, which is pretty powerful, I think.
Okay, Erin actually posted more about what her question was about the bullet points. And maybe that's why you're indexed, right? Are they crawled by Google for more user experience? It's a great tip, she said. Are bullet points, does that have anything to do with the index?
Yeah, I don't know. That's a good question.
Or just why the bullet points are no.
Yeah, all I know, I'm not an SEO expert in any way, shape, or form. All I know is that it pulls a lot from metadata, which I know when it's organized by the bullet points, that it's easier for it to pull somehow.
Okay.
I don't know. That's something that is very technical. And that's a great question, Erin.
Okay.
I will look. Yeah, that's an interesting question.
Okay, Andrew Reynolds wanted to give a tip for everybody that it's easier to take a picture of things that aren't laminated, and she is right.
Yes, she is
Yeah.
absolutely right.
Yeah.
And I have found too, printing on colored paper, any bright colors are tricky to take pictures of. You kind of learn as you go. But yeah, don't take a picture of laminated. It looks nice in person, but it has a lot of glare.
Also, in the Google group, we could talk about uh, photography and tech devices because I'm learning a lot about glare, and especially taking video of using tech devices. The glare on the iPad screen is just
Yeah.
you can't really do it. But yesterday I did a Facebook Live and I was like I was playing with some lighting and then all of a sudden it got 100 times better. So I'm like it was the opposite of what I thought. But okay, that's a
Yes.
side
The
conversation.
lighting,
Can Patrick?
I feel like I'm still learning that. The lighting and the angles are so important.
Um, okay, let's see. How do you set up a landing page on your blog?
I'm not, is that specifically just how, or, because it could be on, it could be when you set up a page on Blogger or WordPress, it would just be a standard page.
Not your front page.
No.
No. What
But
would
I
you
always
call
link
it?
to it. I always link to it from my front page. I have this as part of my site, but you could use Hello Bar for it to make that bar on the top. I'm sure
Okay.
it's actually a part of my WordPress site, so I don't have to use something for it. But I use that top real estate to send
Okay.
people to that niche landing page. Again, I'm just like constantly trying to get people to go there because it's got my best content and it's got everything they need to fall in love
Okay.
with what my niche is and then buy something.
Okay, honey, thank you.
Yep.
All right.
I'm 14.
Okay. Thank you. All right. Well, I'm almost done. All right. Yes, Andrew, your niche is social studies. You are the social studies whisperer. So I'm going to say your name tells us what your niche is. Yeah, so
Which is
there's no guessing in that.
No.
Yeah. Okay. Sandy says, so would it be a tab with a blurb about your niche along with other PBL posts? Yes, right?
Yeah, I always link within my posts.
Yeah.
Not necessarily with a blurb, but I think that's a great idea if you had a specific image and a blurb to send people to that. I just usually link within the text, but that's a good idea, and I'm going to steal that. So.
There you go, Sandy. All right. Sandy's going to message you later. All right. Darlene Ann says, can readers get freebies directly from your blog, or do you send them to TPT? That's a great question.
Yeah.
I always wonder that.
Yeah, I send them a lot to TPT. I want them to see my store. However, I do, when they do my niche freebie, it is a download I have a subscribers only area that I have set up on my WordPress blog, and they get the password through the newsletter. And I think that really creates engagement. But like I said, I have a newsletter, and it's kind of part of that engagement strategy. So if you want to just send it to your TPT store, that's fantastic. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. It's less work, that's for sure.
The newsletter freebie thing, I know newsletters is not a part of this webinar, but I might get you for another webinar maybe on that topic. But I'm always like, okay, if I offer an exclusive freebie in my newsletter, I'm going to lose out on that traffic to the TPT store, and there's no way to set that up on TPT just for the newsletter. But we'll
Yeah,
talk about that. That's like another. I can do that on Dropbox, and there's other ways to do that.
yeah, and I have before offered it on TBT and used it for my newsletter sign up. I just don't say the word exclusive, and I haven't had any issue with people being upset about it. Most
Ah,
people, it's
okay.
I was listening to a podcast a couple weeks ago. I thought was really interesting. They said you could actually give away an entire 200-page resource. You could give away 10 different pages from it to different people, and nobody would ever know that they could get the whole resource for free because people only come in through one channel usually. So that's kind of the same thing, which is if it's in your store, they may not know it's in your store, and then they can get it from signing up for your newsletter. So you can get it both ways, and it won't upset people because they probably won't even notice.
Nice. My God, that's something that. Oh my God, we're gonna talk about that more. Okay.
Blew
Uh,
my mind. Like, yeah, okay, I could give out 10 pages of a huge resource, and most people wouldn't put two and two together that you could get the whole resource for free.
interesting. Okay. Oh,
Yeah, it's all in
this
high.
I would. Okay, Kim Patrick, this is an awesome question because I'm always like, what are they talking about? I would love more information on how to turn a blog post into evergreen
Yeah,
content.
evergreen content, that's like pretty much all. I only do evergreen content. I have like 4 posts that are seasonal, and that's just because I'm sending them to a product specifically.
So evergreen's like anytime, or
Yeah,
isn't it
evergreen
relevant?
is something that, yeah, it's going to be relevant. It's going to be relevant a year from now, 2 years from now, and it's going to be relevant any month of the year, basically. So, like, if your niche is social studies, you know, that's relevant. Yes, there are some, Martin Luther King, yeah, that would be for a specific month, things like that. But for the most part, you can create mostly evergreen content because people are going to be looking at it throughout the year because everybody teaches things at different from those standards in a different order.
I feel like okay. I had gotten a tip from somebody about taking the date off the blog post, and that makes it even more evergreen.
Yeah, I don't
Is
think
that true?
people really look at them as much, but I don't have dates on my blog post. That's something I love about WordPress is I was able to it's just one click for me within my template and they're gone. So it's
Okay.
I know
Now
most
I'm like
organizations.
rethinking.
But sometimes, you look at a post and
Okay.
you're like, oh, 2010, that was forever ago. So,
Yeah, like for what we work on in the Google group, I mean, things change for us all the time, but I mean, I don't want that to discourage anybody. But like, if I'm looking at blog posts about Google Classroom from 2012, things have changed a lot since then. Right.
yes. I update old posts sometimes because, and here's my reasoning, I could do a new post, but I'm already getting all of that work I put into marketing that old post. I get a lot of traffic from Pinterest for these old posts that are totally hideous and have outdated information. So I just go back and I put in new images and I update all the information and then I see growth on that
Ah.
post. Instead of just
Amy,
deleting a new post, I feel like it's better.
okay, Amy Mesney and I were actually talking about this today that why not update pins for blog posts that are a little older? Like you just said, April,
Oh
it's
yeah.
like refreshing it, right?
Yeah, I update all the images. I update the pin. Of course, the old pin's still around there, and then occasionally, as I'm searching, I see it and I cringe. But it's around giving you traffic from years ago, which is kind of crazy, and that's why I think it's so powerful to have these blog posts. Is that pin and that content it's sticking around for as long as Pinterest lives. So
Okay.
you can
Well,
definitely I update all the images.
um, so that's probably it for the time we have. I'm trying to think. Okay, let's see. So what we're gonna do is, I think we got. Oh, Sandy says she loves your new design.
Oh, thank
Um,
you. And I'm
yeah.
so in love with it. I'm sure I'll be sick of it.
No,
My blog
I'm
is
gonna tell you, like, nothing's better than. Well, there are better things, but when it comes to what we're talking about, there's nothing better than loving your blog. And I had my blog redone last spring by Kristen Doyle. I'm giving her props right now. And since then, I don't I don't try to avoid it. Like I really, really love how it looks and Yeah, it's really
Yeah,
cool when you feel that way.
it's kind of like buying a new outfit and going somewhere you hate going. Like you still feel good about it because
Yeah,
you have that new outfit, even though you hate doing that. So yeah, that's how I feel with the blog too. Every time I redesign it, I'm like I just redesigned it a couple of months ago, and I've been focusing on it. I've noticed it's been I spend most of my time on it just because I'm really proud of it now, and so I've got more content on there as well. So I think that helps a lot. So if you're not motivated in your blog, get a really pretty design. That helps.
get a pretty design, yep. And I'm not afraid to contact her and say, can you fit me in soon for maybe a new header or something? Because you got to keep it
Right?
fresh, right? Thank you
Yeah.
so much. April, in the group, people probably maybe our group members might post more questions. So is it okay if I ask you and then maybe I'll tell them or
Yeah,
maybe?
definitely. I love talking about blogging. I could talk about it for hours, so you can send me any questions. I will answer them
Okay.
unless they're about indexing and bullet points because that one just blew my mind. So that I
Well,
need
you
to
know, we'll
research.
look. Yeah, we'll look that up with Erin. We'll try to see what that's all about. Um, I thought it was for readability. You know, just like the bold, just the reader, like it's
Yeah,
easier on the eye, I
I
guess.
know I know it's definitely for readability, and I know that Google gives you points based off readability, but I know it also pulls. I don't know. You know, they really need to have
Julie,
an SEO expert at the
Julie,
conference.
you know Julie, the techie teacher. Julie wants to know if you're available to be her blogging tutor.
Sure, I'll pencil you in my next nap time.
I actually rephrased what she said. Julie, I'm sorry. I actually rephrased what you said a little bit. I just thought it would be funny. But yeah, April, that would be a really great side job for you. You know, there's VAs and then there's blogging tutors. Contact April Smith. Um, thank you so
Nice.
much. So,
Yeah,
guys,
you know, I
to
love talking about it.
thank you to everybody in the group that participated tonight. I hope you got some really great information. I will be posting a replay link, and you will all get that. And for our group members that didn't participate, they'll get it too. April, you're going to get it also as soon as it's posted. Thank you again, everyone. Have a great night.
Well,
April, round of applause for you. Thank you.
I enjoyed it
All
so much.
right. Oh, everyone's saying thank you, thank you, thank you. Oh my God. Oh my God. A wonderful thank you, everyone. Yeah, lot of props to you. All right. Good night, everyone. Bye, April.
Good
Thank you.
night. Bye. Thank you.